Welcome back to Burn to Notice, the series dedicated to analyzing Michael Weston and his crew. If you are new to the series, there is a link in the description to catch you up. This episode begins with Mike and Fee infiltrating Seymour's mansion, and yes, that means Seymour is back, which makes me happy. He is here to help find the bomber. Also, Mike and Fee discuss their late night rendezvous, and Fee, very much in character, dismisses it entirely, forcing Mike to focus more on the mission. In the party, Fee sets up next to the security as Mike introduces himself. Then Seymour pulls a gun and
We have hollow points in there.
Hey, you can tell just by looking.
No, I can't, but I can distract you long enough to take it.
this gets Seymour's attention, and he agrees to help for a fee. But Mike doesn't have the funds, so Seymour fronts the money, which scares Mike. And Seymour is so impressed, he says,
All right, jackass. You see how they just laid you out again? That is called teamwork, people. And it is a beautiful thing. So, up and at 'em. Hit the blender, make some smoothies.
You like mango?
Mango.
Another classic scene from Seymour. After the meeting, Mike talks with Fee about the money he is borrowing from Seymour. This is when Fee suggests that he gets a job, and Mike complains about getting a W-2. Has he not been paying attention in the last 2 seasons? I mean, honestly, every time he's needed money, he's been able to find a job to compensate for himself. Why is now this big ordeal? Anyway, luckily, Fee has a job in store for him, dealing with an art dealer. At the Carlito, Sam feeds Mike his new cover ID. When Fee calls and Mike confirms the job, while simultaneously tipping Sam off about Mike and Fee's budding relationship. Then Mike meets with Scott Chandler to discuss the job, and Mike is able to convince Chandler of his skills and is able to secure the job. But during the tour of the gallery, Seymour calls with information about the bomber whose girlfriend works at a cafe the Russian mob uses for business. And Seymour comes up with the bright idea to put a tracker on her car, so Mike has to fix it without tipping off the Russian mob. This is when he beats up Seymour's bodyguard. At the loft, Mike comes up with a plan to catch the thief. Then Fee and Mike further discuss their recent entanglement, until Mike excuses himself to meet with Chandler. That's when Mike finds a keylogger in the keyboard, meaning Mike needs to stay late in order to catch this thief, who just so happens to be the receptionist, and after she's caught, she tries to run when this bomb is dropped.
He'll kill me.
Chandler. Yeah, that sounds a little hardcore for an art dealer.
You don't understand. He killed my father.
Meaning Melanie is also scared for her life. Turns out her dad is some famous painter, and after her dad went to another art dealer, Chandler killed him and burnt down the studio, and possibly stole this famous painting, A Lady in White. And Mike agrees to help, providing the story checks out. While Mike is working out, Sam is able to confirm the story. This means Mike needs to cover Melanie's tracks by creating a portable electromagnet that he deploys in the security office. It is always funny to see shows dealing with computers because the visual effects don't look anything like what would happen in the real world. However, this works, and Mike uses it to scare Chandler. Also, I love this.
Hell, for all I know, it could have been some guy walking in with an electromagnet.
The fact that he can look Chandler in the eyes with a straight face and tell him exactly what he just did is amazing, as well as this scene.
Do you want me to find this guy with one hand tied behind my back? I mean, are you hoping he walks through that door, stands in front of you, and says, "Hi, I'm your spy"?
That always makes me laugh. Then Chandler acquiesces to Mike's demands. Next, at the Carlito, Sam debriefs with Mike about the files Chandler released, leading them to the muscle. During this meeting, finally Sam is brought up to speed on Fee and Mike's relationship. Then Fee and Sam size up the muscle, while also talking about the fact that Sam now knows about everything going on with Fee and Mike. Then Fee is able to effectively bring the muscle back to his room, with Sam just outside the door as backup. Fee then spikes the muscle's drink, but that doesn't work because he doesn't drink it. So Fee breaks 2 bottles over his head as Sam tries to break into the hotel room and fails miserably. However, Fee is able to plant the bug. The next day, Melanie shows up to the loft, scared that she could be looking at an early grave, but Sam reassures her that Mike is on it. Then Mike goes to Chandler about a story of a 2-man crew breaking into his house. That sounds oddly familiar. And Mike becomes a little bit more aggressive. Also,
Some spy gets blacklisted, goes freelance. He could be standing right in front of you and wouldn't even know it.
this episode is just chocked full of fourth wall breaks, but during this exchange, Mike is able to convince Chandler to let him get carte blanche with the security system, including access to the cameras that become very useful during that night when Sam is using them to direct Mike so he can investigate Chandler's office. This is where Mike finds a wall safe that could hold the intel, but they're going to need some new equipment to break into the safe. The next day, Melanie meets with Mike about the things happening at the office. Afterwards, Seymour calls to inform them they found the bomber's hideout. Unfortunately, they aren't equipped to breach the compound just yet, which makes sense considering the last hideout was rigged to burst into flames, meaning he's a little bit paranoid. As Mike scouts the compound, Seymour attempts to reason with Fee about Fee and Mike's relationship, and it seems to work on Fee at least a little bit. When Mike and Fee return to the loft, Sam is filled in with the bomber, and Sam reveals he was able to find the equipment they need to break into Chandler's safe, which is deemed unnecessary because Melanie makes a huge mistake by going to the office to look through documents that were supposed to be shredded because it was a trap. It's a trap! And because of the screw up, Chandler shows up to the office. Mike, thinking on his feet, gets Melanie to rig a fake explosive device and sets Fee to rig Chandler's car to blow. Also, he gets Sam to tangle with the muscle again. Mike calls Chandler to warn him about the fake bomb. Finally, Chandler reveals why this thief is after him. As he returns to his car,
convince him that he's on the brink of disaster,
forcing Chandler to divulge where the painting is. Meanwhile, Sam is meeting with the muscle to get him nice and pissed off about cutting him out of the deal. At Chandler's, Mike finally sees the painting and
He's already here. That's the thing about spies. You never know who they are.
yeah, the payoff to the joke is just as funny as the setup. Then the muscle shows up and Chandler tells the muscle the spy took the painting, and well, he isn't buying it. At the Carlito, Melanie is there for the debrief and learns that the muscle is in prison dumping Chandler's body, so she's safe. She offers Mike money and he refuses at first, which is weird because the only reason he did this job was for the money to pay Seymour back, but Melanie convinces him to take it because she owns part of her father's estate. She also gives him a painting from her father. Then Mike leaves to kidnap the bomber.
They're loaded with the shells that I made specifically for this job.
Man, I'm really going to miss Seymour. Then Mike and Fee dispatch the bomber in order to interrogate him. Seymour is a wild card when he tries to use a butane torch to scare the bomber into talking, but Mike brings it back on track by offering safe passage out of the country, and the bomber reveals an account in the Cayman Islands that Seymour's bodyguard writes down, and Mike negotiates for the bomber to be extradited to Suriname, which honestly looks like Miami but in South America. As they are about to leave, Seymour brings Fee and Mike matching knives to show their camaraderie. And sadly, this is the last scene Seymour is ever in as we close the episode, which is a shame. I really enjoyed Seymour as a character. You never really knew what he was going to do next. Finally, Mike and Fee discuss the morning after and how he brought her favorite food, but they leave the relationship ambiguous. This episode was okay. The fourth wall breaking was actually pretty funny, but most of this episode was dedicated to Mike and Fee's relationship over getting the information about the bomber. It is a relief that they find the bomber, but it just leads to more questions than answers. And as previously stated, Seymour never graces the series again without even a word as to why. It would have been good to have him be a mainstay, even if it was just a few episodes. However, the next episode is really explosive. Thanks for watching. If you are curious on how an FBI team finds killers using psychology, check out Inside Criminal Minds, link in the description. And as always, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.